Hello YouTube, I'm a very opinionated person, and I am here to talk about movies. I've been wanting to make a movie review channel for a while now, but this is the first time in a while that I've seen a smaller movie that hasn't been kind of blowing up, either because of Oscars, buzz, or really just for any other reason. This is a smaller film that doesn't have as many eyes on it as I think it probably deserves, because it was pretty awesome. The movie I'm talking about, obviously you can tell from the title of the video, is Problemista. This is the first film from Julio Torres, I believe that's how you pronounce his last name, and man, I was honestly really impressed. The performances all around are really good. Tilda Swinton especially killed it. She was very entertaining. She brought a really good energy to the role. The movie has a great variety in its visuals, which I really dug. There were a lot of scenes that used, not in any way subtle, but still visual metaphors to get across a lot of the points it was making, either about characters or the grander scheme of society as a whole. And I thought they were all not only very well done metaphor-wise, but they also were pretty aesthetically pleasing. This movie also tackles a lot of social issues, but unlike a project like, say, 13 Reasons Why, that's just kind of going through a checklist and just hitting as many hot-button issues as it can without really giving any of them proper development or respect, this movie doesn't do that. This movie tackles so many issues and never feels like it's just doing it out of obligation. There's a particularly good scene near the end of the second act that kind of focuses on poor people being driven towards sex work, and I'm not going to say anything else because I don't want to spoil the scene, but man, it's some of the most effective shit in the whole film, and it's only like 2 minutes. I also want to add, this movie is really well paced and is constantly keeping its content fresh. I've seen a lot of movies this year that were good but kind of repetitive, and this movie, there were so many points where I said, okay, it's starting to seem a bit repetitive. I hope they switch it up soon so I don't get, I don't feel tedium, and without fail, every time it switched things up, or it did something new and creative, or the scene went in a totally different direction than I was expecting, and yeah, it's just great. I do have some mild criticisms. I think my main criticism would be the kind of lack of subtlety to a lot of it. It's very much got the Barbie problem of there are points where the characters kind of just explain the movie to the audience, which I understand, especially when you're talking about hot-button social issues. You want to make sure your point doesn't get misconstrued, and you want to appeal to as wide a demographic as you can, which means you need to dumb down some of your points to people who might not necessarily be in the know about things. I understand that. That said, I feel like this movie still could have eased up a bit. There's a couple parts where I felt that the visuals and the character interactions were carrying whatever social commentary it was trying to make just fine, and then the kind of narrator would come in and it was just like, alright, I get it, you don't need to spell it out for me. Other than that though, I don't really have any big complaints, certainly nothing that affect my rating of the movie. My only real criticism that I can honestly think of that actually took me out of the movie is there's a bit where the main character is watching a YouTube video, and the video description is very clearly placeholder text, and I don't mean it's some paragraphs that are clearly unrelated to the movie. It's like when you pull up a Google Slides template, and it's got all that lorem ipsum fake Latin text in there. It's literally that. Again, small thing, did not affect the score I gave the movie. It just very much took me out of things for a few seconds, and probably could have been fixed in a pretty short post-production session. Other than that, though, this movie was great. It's got a great sense of humor. It's got great performances. It's very well written and directed, very aesthetically pleasing. Tilda Swinton is a hoot and a holler. I wish Greta Lee had more screen time because she's awesome and I want to see her in more projects. Yep, this is a good-ass fucking movie. Best of the year so far for me. Yes, better than Dune Part 2, not by much, and also they're very different movies, so please don't get mad at me. It is difficult to compare a spectacle science fiction epic with a small, quirky movie about immigration and poverty and social dynamics between people. So yeah, check this one out in a theater if you can. I think it works pretty well on the big screen, although it's a perfectly fine movie to watch on streaming or whatever when it comes out. 4 stars, 8 out of 10. Good movie.